He did this knowing he was going to see me for my birthday 2 days later. I hung up the phone after I found this out. I was fuming. Met this boy in Thailand like 3 months ago. From the first day that we met, we traveled together every single day for 3 weeks. So like his entire trip, I was with him. And at the end of it, he was going back to Perth. And he was like, oh, do you want to move to Perth with me? Okay, that's kind of crazy because I live in London, but I do have family in Sydney. So I was like, okay, it's not that weird. Like, I'm Australian. So I moved to Perth with him and I'm living at his house for like 2 weeks. Everything's really good. But he works in a job where he flies away and works 3 weeks like in the mines, and then he gets 1 week off. So I thought rather than me sitting in his house for 3 weeks and like waiting for him to come back, I would go visit my mum in Sydney. It was my birthday as well in that time frame, and like he sent flowers to my house and everything. He like came up with the idea. He's like, why didn't I just fly us both to Bali and pay for like a Bali trip for both of us for your birthday, and so I can see you? And everything was fine. Like, I had a really good time, and then said goodbye to him last Sunday. And this time, like, he'd kind of been just like a little bit weird. He's been talking to me less, and I kind of messaged him today being like, oh, what's up? And he's like, oh, nothing, I've just had this thing on my mind that's really been stressing me out. He FaceTimes me and he's like, oh, like, it's literally nothing, but like, I'm just paranoid that I have an STI. Ever since I've met him, he's just always been really paranoid about STIs.
It seems pretty suspicious that he would be paranoid of an STI.
I've obviously been tested since sleeping with him and only him, because like we were exclusive. So I was trying to like calm him down, like calm down his hypochondriacness. No, like, don't worry, like, I've not been sleeping with anyone else, you've not been sleeping with anyone else, you couldn't possibly have an STI because you would have shown symptoms already because we've been sleeping together for like 3 months. And he made like a face, and I was like, hold on, what the f***'s that face? And he was like, oh, nothing. Have you been sleeping with anyone else? Oh, no. And I was like, no, seriously, have you slept with anyone else? No. I asked him again, have you slept with anyone else? He said no. I asked him a 4th time, and he was like, okay, yeah, I slept with someone else. And I was like, you're joking. And he's like, no, I'm not joking. No, tell me you're joking. He wasn't joking. You know that feeling when you find out information and you just shake, like that adrenaline? I was like, okay, when? He was like, before Bali. Before Bali.
How could he cheat just days before their trip to celebrate her birthday?
I was like, okay, maybe fair enough, like you were out drinking in Bali, because I went to bed earlier than he did every single night because I crash early. So I was like, oh, fair enough if you were really drunk and like you slept with someone else. Like, I mean, still not okay, but he slept with someone else before Bali. He was at home for 2 days before the Bali trip. So he went from work, flew into his hometown in Perth, was at his house for 2 nights, literally 1.5 days, and slept with someone else, sober. Like, he wasn't out drinking. So I'm thinking it was either his ex or it was this girl that he was seeing before me. It doesn't matter. He did this completely sober, knowing he was going to see me in Bali for a week for my birthday 2 days later. And then the worst part of all of this is after I hung up the phone after I found this out. I was fuming. Like, I was literally livid. Hung up the phone. He's not sent a message. He's not called me back. He's just gone to bed. This man has gone to bed.
A true sign of a sociopath. To hurt people, then sleep soundly at night.
One of his friends, the only other friend that I met in Perth that followed me, like his housemate, has unfollowed me, and it would have been in the last couple of days. So I'm like, okay, maybe he cheated on me and like it's been premeditated and he was going to end things anyway. Like, that's why he's being weird the past week. I was like, okay, that adds up. However, on this phone call tonight, 5 minutes prior to me, you know, discovering this cheating thing, he said that he was going to fly out to Sydney next week. I was like, yeah, I'm going to come out to Sydney and see you in a few days. I was like, what? Like, the fact that he was going to come to Sydney knowing he's cheated on me, like, what the f*** is wrong with this man's head? And I literally had to drag this information out of him.
Something was telling Ree that she should distrust this man.
The last week, I've been saying, like, half as a joke, but half because I kind of knew something was off. I was like, you know what you've done? You know what you've done? You know how you sometimes do that? You're like, you know what you've done? Just like trying to like get any sort of secret out that isn't even there. I've been doing that. And he's like, why do you keep saying that? And I was like, I don't know, you know. And like, I could tell, like, I don't know. I'm a fucking girl. We know, we have intuition. I could tell something was up, and I was right. And I started off this video crying, and I've ended it in rage again. I'm literally going in between rage and crying because I just don't know how to feel. I want to lay it all out on this man. I want to have a big screaming match and then never speak to him again.
Bless Ree for having to put up with such an awful guy who clearly did not respect her. It may have seemed quick for her to have decided to move in with him, but you cannot slow down love. Who can blame Ree for being swept up in the romance? Let's just hope she can meet a nice boy next who really values her. The comments section were in full support of Ree, saying, I met this guy in Thailand. That's where the red flag begins. And Babe, carry on your travels. Don't let this ruin your solo travel era. It's not worth it. Top advice. As always, thanks for watching Happiest. If you like this video, then be sure to follow our other social pages for more eye-opening videos like this. And if you have any of your own videos you'd like to share, be sure to send them in.